It's not that it got old, it just took everybody else a really long time to catch up. Welcome back, friends. Happy Monday. One of the few allocations I got from Surly this year, or have gotten, year's not over yet, was a 52 centimeter cross-check frame set. It wasn't a hard decision to make whether I was going to take it or not. It's one of the more affordable frame sets you can buy, certainly one of the most affordable Surlys. And it's what I would consider to be one of the last true parts bin bikes. No disc brakes, no through axles. By some stroke of fate, I actually had all the parts that I needed to turn this into a bike. So I waited a little while to see if anybody bought the frame set, and that hasn't happened, so I've started the process of putting the bike together. While I was doing that, I started thinking that you don't really hear that much about the cross-check anymore. I started wondering why. Well, there's a handful of reasons. One, you just don't see that many of them anymore, certainly in bike shops. They drop a batch of flat bar bikes every once in a while, but it's basically been relegated to frame set only. And the straggler had a lot to do with it. People tend to want what's new, and the cross-check is not new. And this frame is basically unchanged. And they may have bumped the tire clearance out at some point. Was anybody even making a 700 by 42 tire in the year 2000? I'm sure somebody was, but it's not like you could go into a bike shop and buy one. The DNA of a cross-check is that of a cyclocross bike, which means it handles more like a road bike than it does a touring bike. And yet, the way people have used the bike over the years is commuting and light touring. You can build the cross-check with drop bars, put 32 or 38 millimeter tires on it and go ride with your local group. Or you can put albatross bars on it, racks and bags, and use it for everything else. It really is a unicorn. Arguably, the first, certainly one of the first, adventure bikes. It's not that the cross-check got old, it just took everybody else a really long time to catch up. Now, one word of warning, if I've got your brain working and you're thinking about doing something like this, especially if you're planning on using it as a touring bike, you need to pay attention to the stack and reach numbers on this frame. The reach tends to be longer and the stack is quite a bit shorter. So if you're planning on running your bars on the high side, you want to pay attention to that before you start cutting on that steer tube. Now, if you would indulge me, a short story. I owned a cross-check. This was like 99, 2000, 2001, something like that, and I did one cyclocross race. I can't remember if I've ever told this story. If I have, it's been a long time ago. So I decided I'm going to do this cyclocross race. And this was January, and it was before cyclocross got big. There were rumors about a race in Louisville where 60 people showed up, and everybody was astonished. So I show up with the idea that I'm going to run the Citizens race, which was 30 minutes plus a lap. And I got talked into racing in the Masters division, which was 45 minutes plus one lap. Now, as it turned out, after I switched categories, that made 4 people in the Masters division, including me. The first 2 guys both lapped me at least once. The 4th guy was in a parka and blue jeans, if that tells you anything. So I'm going through the start-finish line at one point, and the race director's there, and he's like, "You're doing great, you're in 3rd place in the Masters division." And I looked over my shoulder and I said, "There's only 4 of us." So finally, you know, if you've ever done one of these, you basically have to wait for the bell to ring And then after the bell rings, you do one more lap. So I start slowing down as I get toward the start-finish line, and I'm saying, please ring the bell, please ring the bell. Finally, the bell rings, I do one more lap, and it's over. It's, to this day, one of the hardest things I've ever done. But the race director comes up to me, and he's like, great job. He goes, make sure you stick around, you're in the money. And I was like, in the money? What are you talking about? He goes, well, you're in third place. I was like, this seems kind of ridiculous, but okay. So we go into the office, and he points to a box of swag, and he says, you know, any one thing out of that box, go ahead and take it. I'm like, okay. And then he hands me a medal. And I was like, what's this for? And he said, you didn't know? And I was like, didn't know what? He goes, well, this is the Indiana-Kentucky District Championships. So in my first and only bike race, I podium in the Indiana-Kentucky District Championships and promptly retired. I sure hope something good happens to you today. Until next time, be nice, work hard, ride bikes, play music when you can. I'll talk to you soon.